Hello everyone. Today I am going to start an important topic in organic chemistry, that is stereochemistry. Particularly molecular symmetry and chirality. So what is stereochemistry? It is a study of the spatial arrangement of atoms or groups, or it is a study of the three-dimensional arrangement of atoms or groups, that is stereochemistry. Let us look the origin of stereochemistry. In 1814, J.B. Biot, a French physicist, he discovered optical activity for a quartz crystal, and 1 year later, after 1 year, that is in 1815, he extended his observations to organic compounds, and he discovered in 1815 that organic compounds like tartaric acid in its solution phase and in its gaseous phase also shows optical activity. That is, he recrystallized the tartaric acid solution and he separated the crystals and showed and he observed that some crystals show positive optical rotation and some crystals show negative optical rotation. So he is the first scientist, that is J.B. Biot, observed this optical activity for organic compounds. But he couldn't able to explain the reason for this optical activity. What is optical activity? It is the ability of a compound to rotate the plane of the plane polarized light either towards right direction or to the left direction, that is optical activity. And in 1848, Louis Pasteur, he explained that this optical behavior is due to the dissymmetry of the compound. Like in the case of quartz crystal, that quartz crystal shows optical activity because it is having some dissymmetry, or the quartz crystals, different quartz crystals have mirror image relationship, or there is a arrangement, difference in the arrangement of the crystal planes. And that similar reason he explained here also in the case of organic molecules. Also, this type of dissymmetry or mirror image relationship is there, and that is a reason for this optical behavior. And he also used the term dissymmetry other than asymmetry. But that asymmetry term, the term asymmetry is also there in the French scientific community at that time, but he used the term dissymmetry. But later, when some of the scientists translated his manuscript, French manuscript, into English, they used the term asymmetry instead of dissymmetry. So there is a little bit confusion in that case. Okay. But after this invention, Louis Pasteur discontinued this interest in this optical activity, and he moved to in the discovery or he moved into microbiology. He changed his interest into microbiology, and later he became a famous biologist also. And after that, in 1874, Van Hoff and Label, these scientists independently explained that but at the same time they simultaneously explained that it is due to the tetrahedral geometry of the carbon, or the three-dimensional arrangement of the carbon, or the three-dimensional arrangement of the molecule is a reason for this optical behavior, or that is a reason for this optical activity. And so they are the scientists, or they are actually the people behind this discovery of stereochemistry. And little more I want to add about this about Van Hoff is that Van Hoff, after this discovery, he also changed his interest into physical chemistry, and he worked with great physical chemists like Ostwald, then Le Chatelier, then Arrhenius, and he contributed his observations to their findings, and he got the first Nobel Prize in chemistry, that is in 1901. So he is Van Hoff is the first chemist or first scientist who got Nobel Prize, first Nobel Prize in chemistry, that is in 1901. That is his contribution in physical chemistry, that is his contribution to chemical dynamics of dilute solutions. Okay, so that is about the origin of this stereochemistry. So stereochemistry, I show you an example. For example, in the case of this compound, here suppose this is OH here. Here 1, 2, 3, third position, here 1, 2, 3, suppose here OH. And these isomers, they are isomers, these isomers are called constitutional isomers, because here OH in the OH and COH, here OH is in the first, second, third position, and here OH in the 1, 2, 3, 4, here OH in the fourth position. So they are called constitutional isomers because here same constitution but their connectivity is different. They are called constitutional isomers. But in the case of this example, suppose this OH I am drawing like this, COH, 1, 2, 3, here 1, 2, 3, third position, and these two isomers are called stereoisomers because here we can see that here the connectivity is same, here 1, 2, 3, OH in the third position, here also 1, 2, 3, OH in the third position. So connectivity is same but their arrangement, spatial arrangement is different. In this case OH is above the plane and in this case OH is below the plane. So they same connectivity but the spatial arrangement is different. So this type of isomers are called stereoisomers. So these two are constitutional isomers and these two are stereoisomers. Okay. So in order to study in detail, first we must know the term optical activity. What is optical activity? I already said it is the ability of a compound to rotate the plane of the plane polarized light either towards right or towards left. That is optical activity. Okay, optical activity. And such type of compounds are called optically active compounds. That is, this is a non-linearly polarized light. If we pass this non-linearly polarized light through a Nicol prism, it become linearly polarized. And this linearly polarized light is allowed to pass through an organic compound. What type of organic compound? Optically active organic compound. What happens? Some compounds rotate the light towards the right direction or some rotate this light to the left direction. Okay, and we can observe this angle of rotation, at what degree of angle or at what degree, how much degree it rotated towards the right or towards the left. And the instrument is called polarimeter. Using the polarimeter we can measure the angle of rotation, at how much angle the light is rotated. Okay, and this observed rotation is usually expressed in terms of, it is denoted as alpha, that is the observed rotation, and this optical activity is expressed in terms of specific rotation, that is alpha in bracket. This is called specific rotation. Why it becomes specific? Because this observed rotation, this angle of rotation depends upon certain factors like concentration of the organic compound, that is concentration of the solution. That is usually we are taken 1 gram per ml solution, and then the length of the light travelled, that is path length of light, of the light travelled, path length, then wavelength of the light used, that is usually we are using the light from the sodium lamp, that is 589 nanometer. Then the temperature at which we are measuring this optical activity. So it depends upon this observed rotation or this angle of rotation depends upon these factors. So we are using, instead of the observed rotation, we are expressing this optical activity in terms of specific rotation. That is equal to this observed rotation divided by concentration into L. That is concentration is, this is the concentration of the solution. It is a path length of the light, and also we have to mention the temperature at which we are measuring the optical activity, and also the wavelength of the light used. Okay, so that is about optical activity and specific rotation. And what type of compounds are showing this optical activity? What type of compounds are showing this optical activity? The chiral compounds are showing this type of optical activity. So next one is, what is chiral? What do you mean by chiral molecule, or what is chirality? Okay. So what is chirality? What is chirality, or what is chiral molecule? Chirality. What is chiral molecule? A molecule is said to be chiral if it is not superimposable on its mirror image. That is, a molecule is said to be chiral if it is not superimposable on its mirror image. If it is not superposable, the both terms, so not superposable or not superimposable on its mirror image. Such type of molecules are called chiral molecules, and that property is called chirality. For a simple example, in the case of English alphabet, the letters like A, then letters like M, then letters like O, they are all achiral objects. They are all achiral. What do you mean by achiral? They are called achiral. Achiral opposite of chiral, because they are superposable on its mirror image. They can be superposed on its mirror image. These are the mirror images. And the letters like P, then letters like C, then letters like D. These are the mirror images, and these letters are chiral. These letters are chiral because they are not superimposable. They are not superimposable each other. Okay. Similarly, our hand is an example for a chiral object. Our hand is an example for a chiral object. This is a mirror image of this hand, and they are not superimposable each other. If we try to superimpose, it can superimpose, but their features like their nail or other features may not be equal. That means hand is also an example for a chiral object. And this word chiral also, it arises from a Greek word meaning handedness. That is, some people are left-handed, some people are right-handed. Okay, so that word is coming from the Greek word meaning handedness. Okay, so that is about chirality. So in the case of chemistry, example for a chiral molecule. Example for a chiral molecule is fluorochlorobromomethane. This is bromine. This is fluorochlorobromomethane. If I take the mirror image, here it is fluorine, here it is chlorine, here it is bromine, and here it is hydrogen. Okay. So this is a mirror image of this molecule, and this is an example for a chiral molecule. This is an example for a chiral molecule because this molecule is not superimposable on its mirror image. If I make it to superimpose by rotating at certain angle, for example, if I rotate it at 180 degree, what happens? If I rotate it 180 degree, fluorine comes here, chlorine comes here, and here comes hydrogen, and here comes bromine. That is, this bromine and hydrogen, they become interchanged. It now become above the plane, and this become below the plane. And we can see that these two molecules are not the same, or they are not superimposable. They are different molecules. That means this molecule cannot superimpose at any way, by any means it cannot superimpose on its mirror image. So this molecule is an example for a chiral molecule. In order to define this chirality, or in order to define a chiral molecule in terms of symmetry, we must first know the symmetry elements. Before that, I just show you this molecule. I will just show you the molecule. This is suppose this is fluorochlorobromomethane. fluorochlorobromomethane, and this is a mirror image. This is a mirror image of this molecule. Okay, this is a mirror image of this molecule, and we can see that they are not superimposable. If I rotate it 180 degree, what happens? It becomes like this, and they are not the same. Okay, they are not the same. They will not superimpose each other. So this is an example for a chiral molecule. So chiral molecules are molecules which are not superimposable on its mirror image. Okay, so in order to define this chirality, or in order to define the chiral molecule in terms of symmetry, we must first know the symmetry elements, that is symbol axis of symmetry. First is symbol axis of symmetry. What do you mean by symbol axis of symmetry or proper axis of symmetry? That is, if I rotate a molecule through a certain angle, for example, if I rotate through 360 degree divided by n is equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. And if I rotate a molecule through 360 degree divided by n, and the resultant molecule is indistinguishable from the original, then we can say that the molecule have this symbol axis of symmetry, or that molecule have proper axis of symmetry. For example, in the case of water molecule, suppose this is a water molecule, this is hydrogen, 2 hydrogens, and this is oxygen, this is H1 and this is H2. If I rotate this molecule through 180 degree, that is 360 divided by 2, 360 divided by 2, that is 180 degree, C2 axis. C2 axis. If I rotate this molecule through C2 axis, what happens? This H1 comes here and this H2 comes here. These two hydrogens are interchanged and the molecule is indistinguishable from the original. That means this water molecule have C2 axis of symmetry. So that is symbol axis of symmetry or proper axis of symmetry. The next one is plane of symmetry. What do you mean by plane of symmetry? If we cut the molecule into, a molecule and after cutting, if the both halves are mirror images of each other, then we can say that molecule have plane of symmetry. If we cut the molecule into two halves and each half is a mirror image of the other, then we can say that molecule have plane of symmetry, and it can have it may be vertical plane of symmetry or a horizontal plane of symmetry. For example, in the case of water molecule, we can cut this molecule in this way or this way. So vertical or horizontal, both way we can cut the molecule, and we can see in the case of it have both the vertical and horizontal plane of symmetry. This is symmetrical both sides, and here also the both sides are symmetrical. So this water molecule have both vertical plane of symmetry and horizontal plane of symmetry. And next one is alternating axis of symmetry. What do you mean by alternating axis of symmetry? In the case of alternating axis of symmetry, what happens is that if we have to first rotate the molecule through an angle. For example, if first we have to rotate the molecule through 360 degree divided by n. Then after rotation, take the reflection perpendicular to the rotational axis, and the resultant molecule is indistinguishable from the original, then we can say that molecule have alternating axis of symmetry. Okay, that is, first rotate a molecule through 360 degree divided by n, then take the reflection perpendicular to the rotational axis, and if we get the resultant molecule is indistinguishable from the original, then we can say that molecule have alternating axis of symmetry. For example, in the case of allene molecule, in the case of allene molecule, what is the structure of allene? Here it is H, here it is H, here it is above the plane, and here this hydrogen is below the plane. That is, these hydrogen and carbon are in the plane, and this hydrogen is above the plane, this hydrogen is below the plane, below the board, this is above the board. Okay, and if I rotate this molecule in this way through 90 degree, that is C4 rotation, if I rotate this molecule through 90 degree, what happens? C double bond C, here H, and here this hydrogen goes above the plane and this hydrogen goes below the plane, and these two hydrogens are now become on the plane, okay, after 90 degree rotation. So first we have to rotate this molecule through 90 degree, then take the reflection perpendicular to a rotational axis. So this is a rotational axis, so perpendicular means this. So reflection take in this way, if I take the reflection C double bond C, here comes hydrogen, here comes hydrogen, double bond C, and here hydrogen. Okay, if I take the reflection, we get the molecule like this. Okay, and we can see that this molecule and this, they are indistinguishable. They are indistinguishable. That means this alene molecule have alternating axis of symmetry. And next one is center of symmetry. What do you mean by center of symmetry? The center of symmetry, other name is inversion axis. Inversion center. Center of symmetry or inversion center. It is an imaginary point. And from that point, if we move equal distance to either side, both sides, we will meet the similar kind of atoms. Then we can say that that molecule have this center of symmetry, or that molecule have this inversion center. That is, from the center, if we move equal distance to either side, and if we meet similar kind of atoms, or other definition is, if we invert an atom or a group of atom through a particular point, and it will meet the same, or if we get an indistinguishable arrangement from the original, then we can say that that molecule have center of symmetry. For example, in the case of this, for example, here chlorine, here hydrogen, this molecule, this is ethylene, trans dichloroethylene, and this molecule have this center of symmetry. This is imaginary point, and we can, from this point, if we go through here chlorine, here also chlorine, and from here we can meet at hydrogen here also we can meet at hydrogen here. So this molecule have center of symmetry. So that is about the symmetry elements. Okay, then we can define this chirality, or we can define this chiral molecule in terms of symmetry. That is, first example, that is fluoro, chloro, bromo, methane. This is an example, first discussed example, that is fluoro, chloro, bromo, methane. And in this case, in this molecule, there is no symmetry elements like simple axis of symmetry, or a plane of symmetry, or a center of symmetry, or an alternating axis of symmetry. No symmetry elements are present in this molecule, and this type of molecule is called asymmetric molecule. This type of molecule is called asymmetric molecule. This type of molecule is called asymmetric molecule, and this carbon is called asymmetric carbon, and this type of asymmetric molecules are always chiral. Are not always, are we can say are usually chiral. Usually it is only an exceptional case. Generally we can say that asymmetric molecules are chiral molecules, and this carbon is called asymmetric carbon, or we can say this carbon is called, it is a stereogenic center. Okay, and these chiral molecules, they are not superimposable on its mirror image. Okay, they are not superimposable on its mirror image. Then in the case of this molecule, for example, here it is hydrogen, here it is chlorine, here it is hydrogen. If I take the mirror image, here it is chlorine, here it is hydrogen, here it is chlorine. This is a mirror image of this molecule, and in this molecule have no plane of symmetry or a center of symmetry, but this molecule have a C2 axis of symmetry. That C2 axis, the axis passing through these two carbon and this C3 carbon. Okay, this is the axis. That is these two middle of this bond and this C3 carbon. And when we rotate this molecule through 180 degree, what happens? Inversion. The above chlorine comes below. Okay, so inversion happens. This chlorine comes here and this hydrogen comes here. Okay, that means this molecule have C2 axis of symmetry, but it is not having any plane of symmetry or a center of symmetry. Even though it have this C2 axis of symmetry, this molecule is not superimposable on its mirror image. So this molecule is chiral because it is not superimposable on its mirror image. And this type of molecule is called dissymmetric molecule. Dissymmetric molecule. This type of molecule is dissymmetric because it is having a CN axis of symmetry. For example, here it is a C2 axis of symmetry. So this type of molecule is called a dissymmetric molecule, and this molecule is not superimposable on its mirror image. So it is an example, it is also a chiral molecule. So both asymmetric molecule is chiral and dissymmetric molecule also chiral. But in the case of for example, here it is chlorine, here it is bromine, hydrogen. What about this molecule? If I take the mirror image, here it is chlorine, here it is bromine, here it is hydrogen, here it is hydrogen. This is the mirror image of this molecule. And is this molecule chiral? No, this molecule is not chiral. This is an example for a achiral molecule. This is an example for a achiral molecule because this molecule have a plane of symmetry. You can see a plane passing through this middle of these two hydrogens, and cutting this chlorine carbon bromine, that bond. It cutting the chlorine carbon bromine bond and the middle of these two hydrogens, the plane passing through between these hydrogens. Okay, so this molecule have a plane of symmetry. So this molecule is chiral. And is it superimposable on its mirror image? If I try to rotate this molecule through 180 degree, what happens? Chlorine comes here, bromine comes here, and hydrogen comes here, and here also hydrogen. Okay, if I rotate this molecule, what happened? These two hydrogens, suppose this is H1 and H2, this H1 and H2 now become changed to H2 and H1, and we can see that this starting and the resultant molecules are same. They are superimposable. It can superimpose each other. That means they are not chiral, they are achiral. For example, I will show you the model. This is a molecule, this is chlorine and this is bromine. These are the two hydrogens. And this hydrogen, one is above and one is below the plane. Okay, if I take the mirror image, this is a mirror image. This is a mirror image of this molecule, and in order to superimpose each other, in this way it's not possible. In order to superimpose, I rotate it certain angle. I rotate it several angle. If I rotate this molecule through 180 degree, what happens? You can see that they are exactly the same. Okay. That means this molecule is an example for an achiral molecules. In the case of chiral molecule, at whatever angle we rotate, it will not superimpose. Okay. So this is an example for a symmetric molecule. So symmetric molecules are molecules that have either center of symmetry or a plane of symmetry. Symmetric molecules are molecules that have either center of symmetry or a plane of symmetry. So this is an example for a symmetric molecule. This is an example for a dissymmetric molecule. Dissymmetric molecule have CN axis of symmetry, and this is an example for an asymmetric molecule. In the case of asymmetric molecule, there is no symmetry elements, and both asymmetric and disymmetric molecules are usually chiral. They are not superimposable on its mirror image. And in actual practice, if we look at a molecule, we can first search for whether that molecule have either a center of symmetry or a plane of symmetry. If it have a center of symmetry or a plane of symmetry, that molecule will be definitely achiral. But in the other case, if that molecule is not have any plane of symmetry or center of symmetry, then we cannot we can't predict it as a chiral molecule. We have to search for the other symmetry element, that is alternating axis symmetry. So the correct way is that for a molecule to predict or to find a molecule whether it is chiral or not, what we have to do is that we have to search for alternating axis of symmetry. If alternating axis of symmetry is present, that molecule will be achiral. In the absence of alternating axis of symmetry, that molecule will be chiral. Okay, that is SN axis is present. If SN axis is present, that molecule can be disymmetric. That molecule can be disymmetric or asymmetric. That molecule can be disymmetric or asymmetric. In the case of disymmetric, it can have CN axis. It can have CN axis, but it will not have SN axis. In the case of asymmetric molecule, both CN and SN axis of symmetry are absent. So in the case of chiral molecules, in the case of chiral molecules, the alternating axis of symmetry will be absent. Alternating axis of symmetry is absent. What is the meaning of alternating axis of symmetry? That word alternating means there are two operations, rotation and reflection. In other cases are only one operation is there, but in the case of alternating axis of symmetry, two operations. That is why they are included the term alternating, rotation then reflection. Okay, look few more examples for chiral molecules. Few more examples of chiral molecules. Let us check these molecules. In the case of this molecule, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. That is, this is butane, 2,3 dibromobutane. In this molecule is achiral. This molecule is achiral because this molecule have a plane of symmetry. Plane of symmetry, that is achiral. This molecule is achiral. And what about this molecule? In this case, there is no symmetry elements. There is no symmetry elements like plane of symmetry or a center of symmetry. No symmetry elements, and this molecule is a chiral molecule. And in the case of this molecule, here we can see a center of symmetry or an inversion center. There is an inversion center. Or a center of symmetry. So this molecule also achiral. These molecules are systems in which there are two chiral carbon atoms. Here there are two chiral carbon atoms. Here also there is two chiral carbon atoms. Okay. So I first discussed that first we have to check whether there is a plane of symmetry or a center of symmetry, and after that we have to check whether there is an alternating axis of symmetry. These are the symmetry conditions we are usually looking for to predict whether the molecule is chiral or achiral. But there are some exceptions. That is why I use the term usually in the first. When I discuss I use the term usually, that is in bracket. Okay, there are exceptions. But it is not a general case. We are usually defined or we usually discussed in terms of the things we are already discussed like that only. We are usually expressed in terms of chirality. Okay, but systems like this is a biphenyl derivative. This is a complex molecule, and in this case this ring is like perpendicular to this ring. And in this case, this molecule have no symmetry elements like center of symmetry or a plane of symmetry or a simple axis of symmetry, or even it is not have an alternating axis of symmetry. So no symmetry elements are present here. So we think that this molecule is chiral. We think that this molecule is an asymmetric molecule because there is no symmetry elements, and it should be chiral. But in actual practice, this molecule is found to be optically inactive. And if I take the mirror image, this is a mirror image of this molecule. This is a mirror, and I am writing the structure here. So this is a mirror image of this molecule, and if I rotate this molecule, if I rotate this carbon CO bond, if I rotate this CO bond through 90 degree, after rotation, that molecule will be superimposable on its original structure. Okay, if I rotate this molecule through this bond, if I rotate it 90 degree and try to superimpose on its original structure, we can see that they They can be superimposed each other. That means they are achiral. So chirality, the actual definition of chirality is that the molecules which are not superimposable on its mirror image are called chiral molecules. The symmetry definitions have certain limitations. Okay, this is only I showed you to. There are cases like this. Okay, this stereochemistry, it is not only based on carbon system. It is not only based on carbon based systems. The other heteroatoms like nitrogen, sulfur, silicon and phosphorus centered molecules can also show this type of optical activity, or these nitrogen, sulfur, silicon and phosphorus based molecules can also show optical activity, or also they can form stereoisomers. For example, tetrahedral compounds or tetra-coordinated compounds like these. This is ethyl, methyl, isopropyl, anilium ion. This is an aniline derivative. This is a quaternary amine, and this is an N oxide. This is a hexavalent sulfur compound, and this type of tetra-coordinated compounds also show optical activity, and these are examples of tri-coordinated complexes, tri-coordinated compounds. This is a tertiary amine. This is an example for a sulfoxide. This is an example for a sulfonium salt, and this is a carbanion. This is a carbon free radical. So these are tri-coordinate compounds. But in the case of tri-coordinate compounds, there is a more chance for racemization by the inversion of its center. That stability is less in comparison with tetra-coordinate compounds. And in order to increase the stability, if the nitrogen, for example, if nitrogen occupies or nitrogen is part of a ring, if it is part of the ring, that is more stable, and that chances of inversion decreases, and this compound is found to be stable, and this is obtained in enantiomeric. It is obtained in pure enantiomeric form. That is, it is obtained in pure LEVO form. Similarly, this is an example for a compound that is Trogues base. This is Trogues base, and here the nitrogen occupies at the bridge head position, and it prevents the inversion, and it prevents racemization, and it is also obtained in optically pure form. Okay, so and one more thing is, in the case of these tri-coordinate compounds, as the atomic number increases, their stability increases. So this carbon nitrogen, when we compare this carbon and nitrogen compounds with sulfur, the sulfur compounds are more stable than this carbon or nitrogen compounds. They are more stable. That means they are more obtained more in the more pure form. Okay, so that is one more thing you need to know about this nitrogen and sulfur based systems. So that's all about molecular symmetry and chirality. Hope you all understood. Thank you.